Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cecilia Gas. I am the Director of the Office of Gender Equality and Empowerment for Women at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this associated event jointly organized by the European Union and UNIDO in the framework of the Stockholm+50 meeting. We cannot achieve a healthy planet if gender inequalities persist. If our efforts to address the triple planetary crisis are not inclusive, they will not be sustainable. At this event today, women entrepreneurs and agents of change involved in the UNIDO-EU projects addressing environmental issues will share their stories. We are pleased to count on the EU as our co-organizer for this event and appreciate their support to UNIDO projects focusing on environmental action and promoting gender equality. Stockholm+50 is an opportunity to recognize the important role of women entrepreneurs, leaders, and agents of change, and to shed light on the gender inequalities that hinder progress towards a healthy planet. To start our event, let's hear the opening remarks. First, we will see a video message by Mr. Gerd Müller, Director General at UNIDO.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, welcome to this associated event in the framework of the Stockholm+50 meeting. We are very happy to organize this event together with the European Union. Women's empowerment and equal benefit from environmental action are key priorities both for the EU and for UNIDO. Both of our organizations stress this critical message. We cannot achieve a healthy planet if gender inequalities persist. We must do our very best to include everyone in our solutions to the crisis affecting our world. If we do not, they will not be sustainable. We must recognize and, yes, amplify women's voices as leaders of circular economies, of climate technologies, and of environmental preservation. We are at a critical point to create new economic recovery measures to make sure that we build better after the pandemic, more resilient and more diverse economies that benefit more and more people, more families, that benefit as many as possible. For this to happen, we need to harness women's full potential. With women's contribution and influence, we can better reshape industrial development. We can develop more environmentally sound production, consumption, and waste management. Today's event will highlight the roles of women entrepreneurs and agents of change from our projects. We will hear from them the solutions they are working on to make sure we have a healthy planet now and for future generations. There were generations before us. There was life before us. We owe the future generations. There should and there must be life after us. It is our responsibility. The projects featured today focus on different action areas to deliver on our promises 50 years after Stockholm. These include sustainable food systems, parliamentary action on climate energy, and technical vocational training and education. We highly appreciate our cooperation with the European Union, especially the EU's great commitment to the empowerment of women. Together, we know that one of the strongest and most basic ways to end poverty is this: to give women education and opportunity. We have seen it over and over, all over the world. We look forward to future cooperation with the European Union and all our other partners. Let's continue to address women's differing needs, priorities, and access to resources. Let's hear today how the public and private sectors can help make women to be key actors for more resilient and sustainable future societies. I wish you very successful discussions during this event. Thank you very much for attending and participating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General, for your opening remarks. Next, we will hear the remarks from Mr. Virginius Sinkevicius, European Commissioner for Environment, Oceans and Fisheries.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, I would like to warmly welcome you to this associated event under the motto of the Stockholm+50 conference, A Healthy Planet for the Prosperity of All, organized jointly with UNIDO. The event showcases 3 EU-funded projects that speak powerfully about women as agents of change, help them realize their full potential through providing vocational training and support their participation in environmental decision-making. I would like to acknowledge the participants, 3 outstanding women with different experience, but with the same passion for multilateralism that is key to tackling the many crises of today. Thank you for sharing your stories that will help us improve our projects and programs for the benefits of all. Ladies and gentlemen, women and girls are among the hardest hit by the climate change, biodiversity loss and environmental degradation. This is not acceptable. We must act urgently, and women's voice should be heard. In March this year, the UN Commission on the Status of Women adopted historic conclusions, which acknowledged the role of women and girls as agents of change for sustainable development, in particular for addressing climate change and safeguarding the environment. These conclusions will serve as a blueprint to advance gender equality in climate and environmental actions as we build back better and greener after the COVID-19 pandemic. As a global gender champion, the EU has already put this to action. Gender equality is at the core of all EU policies and initiatives. Moreover, to ensure a just, green and digital transition, the EU has put in place a gender-responsive policy framework that supports women and girls to reach their full potential by facilitating access to education, vocational training, climate finance, support for women-led SMEs, to name just a few. UNIDO is an extremely valuable partner in this regard. Our joint commitment to inclusive and sustainable industrial development, where no one left behind, translates into a tangible EU-UNIDO cooperation in over 100 countries around the world that creates jobs and reduces poverty. And we look very much forward to continuing this important work. For today's event, let me wish you fruitful and inspiring discussions.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your message. We are very grateful for these compelling words coming from the leadership at the UNIDO and the EU to set the tone of this event. But now let's focus on our topic today. How are gender and environmental action linked? We know that women and men are not affected in the same way by climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Women constitute the majority of the world's poor, and their livelihoods are more dependent on natural resources under threat by climate change. In general, gender and social norms lead to a situation by which women are more frequently exposed to harmful chemicals in household products, insecticides, and e-waste. Also, women and girls often have primary responsibility for the management of household water supply. When clean water gets scarce, women and girls need to travel further to collect water, giving them less time for their education or other occupations and making them more vulnerable to violence on their journey to wealth. These are well-known examples of differentiated effects. Nevertheless, women and men can contribute in different ways to the solutions of this triple crisis. And this is what this event tries to do, to show that women and girls are powerful leaders and change makers. Women and girls are involved in sustainable development initiatives around the world, and their participation and leadership is proven to lead to very effective environmental action. It is a continuous priority for the European Union and for UNIDO to ensure that women and girls are able to play their essential role for sustainable development. We are very grateful to the European Union to support UNIDO's projects and acknowledge the EU's strong commitment to gender equality that we mainstream in our projects. As the Commissioner and our DG already mentioned, we will be featuring 3 projects at today's event, and I'm looking forward to hearing from the 3 women engaged in them. Let me describe very briefly UNIDO-EU projects in the spotlight at this session. First, the Catfish Capture Post-Harvest Fisheries Development Project that focuses on building capacities of business as well as providing support to institutions in Cambodia for the competitive fishery development. Management of natural resources is an important aspect of this project. As such, it contributes to the Stockholm+50 issue areas of sustainable production and consumption and sustainable food systems. The project also specifically focuses on empowering women entrepreneurs and provides environmentally friendly equipment. Our second project, the Parliamentary Action on Climate and Energy project, aims to motivate legislators to support the energy transition and take action to integrate gender-responsive climate and energy recommendations into national policies. The project builds capacities and mobilizes political will to advance the transition to renewables and promote access to clean energy and sustainable transport in several countries. And last but not least, the Youth Pricing EU support to technical vocational education and training sector, TVET for short, for young people in Liberia. The project aims to strengthen the Liberian sector to deliver equitable and gender-responsive access to high-quality TVET. This project addresses education with a strong social inclusion angle, including for people with disabilities. Educational programs are key to building the leaders for tomorrow who can develop solutions for a healthy planet. The TVET sector is also especially important for the recovery of COVID-19 affected sectors and value chains, another issue area of Stockholm+50. I hope these insights help to set the scene for today's event. What is very clear is that gender equality and environmental action are strongly linked. As the EU and UNIDO, we are committed to this cause and we endeavor to empower women and girls around the world. Let's now hear from the protagonist of today, the 3 women agents of change involved in the joint projects of UNIDO and the EU. I'm looking forward to hearing about your stories in these panel discussions. First, let me hear from Mrs. Amina Saber, who is a member of the Egyptian Parliament and Secretary General of the Foreign Relations Committee. Amira brings in experience from various fields. Academically, she holds a degree in chemistry, international marketing, and development studies. Professionally, she has also worked for the regional multinational in the field of medical devices and for the Egyptian Members Association of the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health. Amira is a graduate of Ashoka's Visionary Program for Social Entrepreneurship and a fellow of the American Express Leadership Academy since 2018. Amira, as a parliamentarian, you play a vital role in ensuring that policies respond to the needs of your constituents and that they address current and future issues, including gender inequalities and the climate crisis. Stockholm+50 calls for governance and institutional reforms, collective action, and strengthened cooperation. As such, we are happy that you are engaged in the parliamentary action of climate and energy. Can you tell us more about how you got involved in this project and what kind of impact this initiative is having?
Sure. Thank you so much, Cecilia, for giving me the floor and the chance, and salutes to everyone who is hearing us now. Actually, since my entrance to the parliament, it was very tough to take the decision to study development studies along with being a parliamentarian, but this actually has strengthened a lot my abilities and my insights regarding how to change policies. And right away, we are always talking about the issue of climate change and that the whole humanity is critically facing a kind of a catastrophe sooner or later, and that the rate of the response should match this this trouble which you're all in, but it all comes to the effectiveness and the speed with which the policies are not just put, but also implemented. So as a parliamentarian, I have actually dual tasks, of which are putting good legislations which are not there on ground, and on another note is to push and to monitor the performance of my government to achieve the full transition toward this greener world and toward this greener economy. And that actually the parliamentary action on climate and energy PACE is a very important project from my point of view, with its objective to build the capacities and to mobilize the political will to advance the transition to renewables. It has put together many parts of the puzzles from different actually areas from all around the world. We have held some roundtable discussions, one of which was connecting the different Egyptian legislators to talk about what they think of the potentials, the huge potential, especially that, as you know, Egypt is full of solar and wind potentials to produce green energy. But on another note, like any developing country, we are faced by the financial constraints. And for this, I believe that cooperation and connecting the dots is critically important to find the financial support from the countries which could do that. And it's not only about the financial thing, but it's also about the good practices, because such conversations has given us in-depth insights on the different experiences from Africa, from Europe. Me, myself, I want to talk about my own experience. I have actually introduced a legislation which wasn't there neither in Egypt nor in the MENA region to combat food waste. This legislation I brought about after comparing it to French and to Italian legislations to combat food waste. And actually food waste is totally linked to the issue of climate change. You want to save energy on every scale, and the challenges of climate change is tremendously affecting the food security of everyone living now. So we need to rationalize the usage of tons of food that is being wasted. So actually, it's due to this kind of conversations and comparisons of the different legislations that I put this into light, and it's now in the hands of the parliament. And I expect actually it would be moving on forward very short. On another note, actually, the government of Egypt is fastly moving toward this green project. The government seeks to raise the percentage of green projects to 50% of the budget allocated for the investments in 2024. And actually right now for 2022, it's 30%. And we have mega projects like Binban and others, which actually lead the continent in that aspect. But my role as a parliamentarian to make sure that these plans are being implemented in the requested pace, and that everyone is in the form and in the shape of helping the parliamentarians and helping the policymakers and the implementers to actually get the knowledge and get the willingness to raise the public awareness. Everyone has a role to do, as we all know. And when it comes to policy making, we should very well understand what is behind these policies and be able to actually assess the implementations and assess also the impacts which these policies bring on ground. So the PACE project has actually helped us all the parliamentarians which were involved to get the knowledge and to exchange their experiences and to have in-depth analysis of what went well and what went wrong when these policies were implemented at other countries. So I believe also that for women, because I have been attending the last COP26 at Scotland, I was very sad not to see many women voices actually represented. If we have a look on the number of negotiators, you will find the majority. I don't have the figure exactly, but I don't think that the voices of women are well represented in the issue of climate change, neither as negotiators nor as policymakers. And this issue, I am very much minded with it. I want all the women figures in the scene of policymaking and who are influential in their countries and in their surroundings to understand actually and to stand very solid on the importance and the critical issue which we're talking about, climate change. So actually what I do also is through my NGO. I am the Secretary General of an Egyptian NGO which was founded to cross the gap between the civil society organizations and between the policymakers. And for that, we have been holding many trainings with different entities, actually, of which are Friedrich Ebert and other entities, to build the capacities of the civil society, especially the organizations which are led by women, to train them, to give them the data, to help them implement their projects on ground, because it's not about only how good the policy is, it's about how good this policy is being implemented on ground. This is the only way out for everyone here hearing us or being part of the policy making scene. The real way out is to make everyone feel that this issue is related to him, that he is a contributor to the solution and he is not a contributor to the complication of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amina, for this testimonial. I think there are very, very strong words that are coming, from your experience as parliamentarian, in particular on this issue of collaboration on financial issues, which is not only about finance, it's also about sharing knowledge in particular, and trying to really, as you will kind of very, very, I say, powerfully saying, connecting the dots. I think this is a very important, message for us. Thank you so much. So now let me turn to Liv Mary, who is the CEO of UNICA and a co-founder of the Green Up store. Liv Mary has 15 years of experience in marketing, nutrition, and community development, working with an international company, local and international organizations, including UN agencies. Liv Mary has been operating in agribusiness for 8 years. She has also attended a number of trainings on food safety at the Mekong Institute in Thailand. And concerning her educational background, she holds a master's and a bachelor's degree in business management and a diploma on nursing. Sustainable food systems is another important area of action of the Stockholm+50. And let's take a look at how the Catfish project in Cambodia is working on sustainable fishery development with a gender lens in this short video.
Tại có đa tù thì tầm khăn trong sai chùa lập họ dưới cứ cả cài chân ấy phò chùa lập họ quát chỉ nè group grong nơi sập cam bỏ quát cần lấy cài chân ấy bỏ quát quát miên chiếc sai cho vắt bật bỏ quát cho bà lo bỏ quát quát chân ấy đường xóm quát thưa mấy ở miên đang ruột chiết đang côn lập hiếp nâng sập tập hiệp tháo miên làm lại khu tiết làm rap cho từ lũ nơi tì xa.
ជាការពិតណាស់ផ្នែកវារីវប្បកម្មនឹងបងប្អូនស្ត្រីពិតជាបានចូលរួមយ៉ាងសកម្មក្នុងនាមខ្ញុំជាវារីវប្បករយើងខ្ញុំពិតជាបានខិតខំផលិតត្រីដែលមានគុណភាពគោរពតាមបច្ចេកទេសស្តង់ដារវារីវប្បកម្មដើម្បីចូលរួមជួយដល់សុខភាពបងប្អូនដែលទទួលទានទទួលបានសុខភាពល្អទាំងអស់គ្នា
ដើម្បីសិប្បកម្មរបស់ខ្ញុំដើមរាល់សប្តាហ៍ថ្ងៃខ្ញុំនិងប្តីខ្ញុំបែងចែកការងារតាមជំនាញរៀងៗខ្លួនខ្ញុំគ្រប់គ្រងបុគ្គលិកហើយនឹងកែច្នៃប្រចាំថ្ងៃនៅកន្លែងកែច្នៃជំនាញខាងគ្រួសារខ្ញុំគាត់អ្នករកទីផ្សារគិតបញ្ជីហើយនឹងរៀបចំអីវ៉ាន់ជូនភ្ញៀវរួចហើយគាត់មានពេលទៅនេះគាត់មកឆ្លៀតជួយមើលការងារខ្ញុំដែរ
Catfish project, it is funded by the European Union and implemented by UNIDO in coordination with the Fisheries Administration, private sector and support institutions. We are focusing more on gender parity in all our activities. We are committed to provide technical and financial support to micro, small and medium enterprises owned by women through technical and financial support so that they can upgrade their business and they can access to better market for safer and quality products to Cambodian population. With these efforts, we recognize and promote contribution of women and girls in Cambodian fisheries sector.
Great. So, Liv Mary, you are one of our beneficiaries of the Catfish project, and you have your own company, Unica. Can you tell us more about your story as a women entrepreneur in the fisheries sector and about the support you are receiving through Catfish?
Yes, thank you, Cecilia. Yes, everyone, and good evening from Cambodia to all participants around the globe who are attending our event today. Yes, please let me share my story, how I start my business with Unica. You know, 10 years ago, as a mother, I myself had a difficulty in preparing food for my kids, especially buying quality fish because there were few food stores selling safe fish product in Phnom Penh at that time. And we could only find natural fish in the local market, but it is difficult to prove its hygiene because we believe that it's not only me, but also other women and mothers who have the same challenges. Facing such a difficulty in finding safe food to eat and also seeing an opportunity in fishery sector, in 2014, I and two women co-founders had an idea to start a small retail store. We sell local fish, vegetable, fruit, and our main focus was freshwater fish and other quality fishery products. And at the beginning, we started working with a women fishery group in a province along Tonle Sap River in a small scale, with only a few product items that produced according to the food safety practice. And we sell those products in our own store. At the same time, we also got orders from some friends and other food store on fish product. However, we did not have enough supply for them. In 2019, we decided to expand our production to other community processing groups in 3 more provinces and produce more variety of fish products, including fish chip, dry fish, and marinated fish. Ladies and gentlemen, with this expansion, Unica is able to provide jobs for 80 workers, and in there, 75% of them are women. These workers include those who engage in fish processing activity of our 4 suppliers, and those who work for our wholesale distributor in retail store and retail store. Again, our vision is to be a leading distributor for safe and high quality fishery product in Cambodia and beyond. However, lack of natural fish supply in low season is the main constraint for our daily production. To ensure the consistent supply for year-round processing, we are sourcing farm fish from certified farm under supporting of Cambodian Aquaculturist Association. Yes, moreover, branding, marketing, processing facility, and food safety practice are also the key concern for us in fish processing field. Yes, with support from Catfish project, we are able to address most of our challenges related to food safety compliance, while enhancing capacity of our supplier along the value chain. These include ensure access to clean water upgrade packaging and storage facility to be ready for obtaining food safety certification. Currently, UNICA is able to provide various training on food safety to our staff and supplier. The support also have improved environmental and social aspects regarding waste management, staff welfare, and gender equality as well. Finally, I believe that the support to our enterprise will also benefit other value chain actors that we cooperate with, such as fisher people, fish farmers, processors, retailers, and eventually the consumers, by receiving safer, healthier, and better quality fish products. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing with us, this very interesting story, which I think really shows how, challenges can really become opportunities if you really are strong enough and committed. And I think we are also very pleased that, the project is supporting you in the creation of this business that has such important ramifications also for the rest of the economy and the community itself. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. Now I should turn to Esther Javeli, a beneficiary of the Youth Rising Project. Esther is a carpentry and joinery pivot teacher trainee employed by the Ministry of Education in Liberia. She holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Civil Engineering from the University of Liberia. Esther has participated in a number of online training courses facilitated through the Youth Rising Project, including modules on occupational safety and health and computer-aided design. She's also pursuing an online entrepreneurship certificate training course with the Tommy Elumelu Foundation to support her future role as a pivot teacher promoting the self-employed entrepreneur career option. Esther, you have been recently recruited as teacher from Liberia's Ministry of Education. You are currently on a scholarship in South Africa to qualify as a carpentry instructor. And I understand that next year you will return to Liberia to be assigned to a school. First of all, congratulations on all these achievements. This is quite remarkable. Can you tell us more about what made you choose a career path in education and carpentry? And what support has the Youth Rising Project been giving to you?
Thank you very much. Greetings to all. I'm very pleased to be in such a good discussion, good gathering discussing this important topic. When I came out of college, 2018, I wanted to do something new, like something different, something strange to the Liberian markets. So I started looking for what else can I do other than my bachelor's degree or just going out for a master's program. What else can I do to have an impact in the Liberian society? Right in that time, 2019, I saw the vacancy from UNIDO to recruiting TVET teachers. So I scanned through all the careers they were offering, and then I saw carpentry. I couldn't relate with any of them. They had electrical, they had so many other careers, but then I kind of related to carpentry somehow because I love creating things with my own hands and my mind, and I also admire seeing people creating things that they put so much passion and details into making. So I easily related to carpentry. And then I also searched the market like, okay, so how's the Liberian market looking, carpentry market looking? When I checked the market, unfortunately for me, the market was very poor for local producers, like the furnitures out, when it comes to the furniture sector, the furnitures out there in the market are highly import, 80% imported furnitures. We have like less than 20% of local producers. And this is because the local producers don't have adequate knowledge in producing fine finished products. And sadly, the few producers that we do have are all male. Like you hardly see a female carpenter out there. And we have this stereotype in Liberia against TVET education, that TVET education is mainly for left out people in societies, people failures, people that fail at academic careers. We believe that they are the best and set of people for TVET education. And we also believe that it is not for female rather, it is needed for male. So because of this, you hardly see women into TVET careers, and you hardly see people like higher level educational advice into TVET career. I was even one example, like when I told my dad after going through everything and I made my decision, I would prefer coming to a training in TVET before furthering my education. When I told my dad about it, he felt very disappointed in me. Like he was like, why will you go low when you have already gotten a bachelor's degree? He couldn't understand from where I was coming from. I told him like, okay, TVET, I have this opportunity, I have passion for making furniture, entrepreneurship with this, but he couldn't understand. And he really didn't understand, but then I, as an agent, like, I want to make a difference, I want to impact people's life, and I want to make a change in Liberia. I stood my ground and I told myself, okay, I'm going to do this training and come and see how many people I can impact, how many people I can help make a career for themselves. The Liberia youth population is about 50% of the Liberia total population, and 60% of the youths are unemployed. Some of them don't have money, like the opportunity to go higher education. And if so, for those who are below, there's a need for them to also have an opportunity to have a career, to be able to provide for themselves. So like if I, as a female, which is forbidden in Liberia for the TVET sector, and also a graduate, a university graduate can venture into such field, I'll like make a difference, and I also impact more people to come over to this career. Partner for Men, UNIDO have been very helpful, very supportive and helpful, financially, professionally, like you said earlier. Prior to my coming here to South Africa for the training, I did a lot of online training in preparation for my new career, like the teacher training. I teach 2030. I did occupational and health and safety training. I did computer-aided design training. And I'm very grateful to them for helping me through this new journey that I chose for myself. I would like to go back and revamp the TVET curriculum in Liberia. Like there are a lot of new things I have learned here, especially when it comes to the environmental practices in the carpentry setting, in like the furniture setting in Liberia. We carry a lot of core practices, and from here I've seen people doing a lot of good things that will help us to continue to have a friendly environment. A few of these things could be like encouraging the market back home to create eco-friendly furnitures, and also repurposing our waste materials, because like we don't want to have furnitures and then have a polluted environment. We would like to have a furniture and have a safe and clean environment to survive in. So I also try to implement to make sure this is taught in schools, and also practice in the furniture shops, the local furniture shop or industries. I'll make sure that we learn how to repurpose our waste materials. Our off-cut, reclaimed woods or timbers can also be used to make different materials, different items, like we can make jewelries and early education kits and play kits. We can make the accessories. We can make a lot of things out of this off-cut, instead of just tissue them out into the environment to pollute the environment for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther. I think this is another great story, of creativity and courage, because you are clearly racing against, stereotypes that are surrounding the TVET sector. And I think with your example, you are really supporting and helping lots of young people that will come after you, and will really find, some avenues for future, joining this kind of particular specialized training. So thank you very much. I think it would be really, really important that we hear also, again from our participants, and we have a little bit of time. So I would like to go with the second round of questions, but I would like first to remind also our audience that you can drop some questions in the chat. So if you want to engage a little bit with our participants at the end of the session, time permitting. So I would like to start the second round of questions with Mary. So what is your message for aspiring women entrepreneurs, especially in men-dominated fields? And what is your message for men?
Thank you, Celia. For my personal experience, the message to the women entrepreneur, I would like to encourage you. I would like to encourage you to have a strong vision, for what you are doing, and also invest on your personal development and keep learning and improving. Yes, besides that, as we work in the men-dominated field, we need to have a good communication skill, networking, and networking also. Besides that, we need to give opportunity for yourself to try new things, to learn. Even though we start it small, but we can make it big better. Yes, and one more thing, you need to talk to your partner and family about your dream, your vision, and let them know that their support are really important to you to achieve your dream and also enhance your family livelihood. This is the message to women. And for the men, I would like to take this opportunity to suggest men to provide opportunity and support to women to partner or your women staff worker and allow them to take up the management role and decision making, and equip them with training, other personal development activity, and let them make some mistake and help them to improve it. Family and children are the most important thing for a woman. But please don't forget that they also have their dream, their passionate work to do. So please support them. Please support them, value their work so that they and support them by sharing responsibility, the family responsibility, so that they have time for themselves and for pursue for their dream and job. One thing I need all the men to remember that once you empower women, you will have a life partner, not a dependent. And once you support women and value them, you are creating a better place for the children to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I think your words are having lots of resonance, I'm sure, among our audience and among ourselves also. In this joint way of, for sustainable development, we need men and women, and we need men to support women as well, as you rightly said. So I think this is a very, very important testimony on your side. Thank you so much. Let me now turn to Stella. Actions for recovery in key COVID-19 affected sectors and value chains is an issue area of Stockholm+50. Can you tell us more about the effect of the pandemic on the wood and carpentry sector in Liberia? Why is technical, vocational, and educational training important for the recovery of the sector, especially for women and girls?
Thank you. Past 2 years have been really challenging for the local furniture producers in Liberia due to the COVID-19 outbreak and that of its lockdown restrictions. As we all know that the furniture making, the production depends on labor, intensive labor, and the lockdown restriction has restrictions on gathering, people coming to work together, and also depend on the physical application of machines and all of this. So the lockdown made a lot of small businesses to close down because they couldn't meet together to create furniture, and then they weren't getting money because of the closure of the businesses. And another point is that they couldn't get access to raw materials because these raw materials points are far places, and the lockdown due to transportation wasn't rolling that freely like before. So it was difficult for them to have access to raw materials. And then these are all like combination of the economic instability. Another thing is there are a lot of other workers, because these furniture and producers also have workers along with them. Once the company is closed down, these workers also lost their jobs. So we had a lot of challenging and problems during the COVID period. But however, it also rose on some important awareness about the significance of TVET education, especially the furniture sector, like how we can strengthen it and introduce better skills so that we can create room for more innovation. It also raised concern about the quality of our, like I said earlier, the local producers don't have much market in our furniture market in Liberia because of the quality of our products. So it's also when the lockdown came, imports was not really that hard because they had a lot of costs on imports. So for the furniture sellers who are into importing furniture, like didn't really get that much product. So we had like a lot of reduction also. So like it raised concern that we as a local producer, we should improve the quality of our product. If we improve the quality of our product, we have a good market or we have a good competition with that of the imported furniture sellers. So it also raised concern like in as much as we are producing furniture and producing quality furniture, we also need to learn the importance of reforestation, the environment, like as we are cutting down trees to create furniture, we should also learn how to replant trees. So like we also have to learn to teach the community about the kind of species of wood or tree that we should cut so that we'll be able to replant it. So it creates all of these awareness that we will have to work on in order to rebuild our furniture sector in Liberia. However, coming back to the importance of TVET, we all know that TVET is very important. TVET will play a key role in this transition period, like from the COVID period to that of our new normal. So like TVET, a lot of people lost their jobs during the COVID period. If we bring these people together, people drop out of schools, people lost their jobs. Some of these people that lost their job had their kids in school, high school, and that of university. Now they don't have the jobs, stay out there searching for jobs. If we can upskill them, like we can train them in some TVET courses or so they will be able to provide for their family, they will have self-employment, they will have job opportunities, and will be able to settle a lot of their issues. And it's very key that we bring women into the TVET sectors because we believe that bringing women into the TVET sector will help economically, like to assist their husbands, like the previous speaker said. We bringing more women in will help to build their financial economically, they will be able to assist their husbands financially. And secondly, it will bring in new ideas and innovation into the career. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther. I think once again, I mean, you are really touching upon very, very important issues that has to do, especially with the recovery after COVID, right? And I mean, how it is really that the pandemic affected in such a disproportionate way, kind of certain sectors, like in your case, the manufacturing of furniture, and how these really new efforts in order to build back after this pandemic should also consider sustainability issues, which we are really, really linking up very, very nicely with all the efforts of reforestation. So thank you very much. I finally would like to hear from Amira. You are in the middle of the preparations for the COP27. As we know, the COP27 will take place November this year in your country, in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh. So what are your hopes for this conference, especially in terms of the results for women and girls?
Yeah, sure. As you have mentioned, we are very happy to be hosting the COP27 and with much high expectations actually. And since the announcement of Egypt as the host of the conference, the MPs, the Egyptian members of the parliament, have worked closely with the government to facilitate the transitions, both actually in the preparation for the conference and to the future. We have worked on several fronts, including legislations, oversight, diplomacy, building partnerships and public awareness and engagement, and others. From my point of view, what would be like the main highlight of the upcoming COP is bringing the voices of the South and investing more in the South-South cooperation to achieve many important things which hasn't been achieved in the past COPs, on top of which I see is the pledges, to push for the countries to actually meet their pledges and to have higher voices of youth, even children, and voices of women. The Egypt's first priority is ensuring the just transition and leaving no one behind in any climate action. And it would be very harmful to come from a country which is actually a developing country by any means, which has done lots of mega projects in that movement towards a just transition and to leave no one behind. Also, I think Egypt will strive to keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius, this very important target, alive, and to make the industrial countries in particularly abide by their own pledges and commitments to the Paris Agreement and to the Glasgow Act, because historically, I think the countries of the North have been accountable for the emissions which were all in trouble because of which right away. That's actually for mitigation. For adaptation, I think Egypt will seek to add on the progress witnessed at Glasgow and to assess the progress made and intensifies more and more the action on the adaptation. And the most important thing is financing, I guess, and Egypt is of the view that an appropriate flow of climate finance is very crucial to any climate action. As you've mentioned also, that it's financed in different ways. The transmission of technology in itself is extremely important as well. There is a kind of a global inequality which should be addressed. The developed nations who consume more energy and produce more emissions on contrary to the developing nations should be actually more responsible for allocating such cashes and such global support to the green transition of the whole planet. I think for Egypt, it will focus also on meeting the obligations of the Paris Agreement and to explore, which I see is very important, how the private sector and how the NGOs, because again, the voices of the private sector and the NGOs, specifically the NGOs, I wasn't actually happy with how they were heard and how they were expressed in the past COP. And I think right away Egypt is doing something which is very important to synergize between the natural gas and the renewable energy development, because it's very tough economically and technically and on many aspects to just go towards renewables without having a base on that transition to go smoothly without affecting the masses and without actually grinding there economically. So in that regards, actually 2 months ago, maybe in March or I think even in February, the EU has reclassified the natural gas as being in line with the EU climate and environmental objectives. And this will definitely help accelerating the shift from the solid and the liquid fossil fuels, including coal, definitely towards a climate neutral future, which is actually, I see is very, very important. For the legislators and for the Egyptian parliament, there are different levels of action, starting from ratifying the foundational treaties, such as the UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, approving actually tens of legislations that directly or indirectly addresses climate change, such as laws on the renewable energy, environment, waste management, what I have recently introduced to combat food waste, along with other laws related to the water resources, especially that Egypt is facing a big challenge with the GERD, the dam being built by Ethiopia. And also we are too much into overseeing the governmental actions, and the colleagues of mine are introducing tenses of oversight tools, questioning the government on their policy on the effect of climate change on agriculture and food supply. These are actually things which the parliament is working on. We are also meeting with our counterparts, especially from England, to move the experiences and how they have built on during the last COP, so as we could continue building on what has been implemented. Also, the members of the Foreign Relations Committee had throughout the past months participated in a number of national and international events that aims to build the partnerships in the preparation of the conference, and also to raise the public awareness. Actually, one of the final points that is worth considering ahead of the upcoming climate change conference, ahead of the upcoming COP, is that listening to youth, women, and civil society organizations and incorporating their views in our work is essential. The work on it should be fostered, should be inclusive, and should be actually implemented with very, very clear vision, to hear their voices and to implement it within the policies. Finally, in order actually to survive the climate apocalypse, however devastating it will be, we should learn from the crises which all humanity have passed, either COVID-19 or even the ongoing war on Ukraine. And in the pressing global issues, we need global actions, because actually no one is safe until everyone is safe. Thank you. Thank you, UNIDO, thank you, Stockholm+50, and thank you to the PACE project and what the Climate Parliament has been adding.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you. And we really sense your sense of urgency. And let me thank you, because also, your work in your parliament is a work that you do on behalf of all of us. It's not just, for your constituencies that you are fighting, but you are fighting also for the health of the whole planet. So thank you. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best in the preparations for the COP27. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are really running out of time. And I know it will be very difficult to summarize all the insights that have been shared by our panelists. Nevertheless, I would just like to, leave you with few points that I hope will help you reflect on, the main lessons from this session. The first one is that environmental action won't be effective if gender inequalities persist. Women, and as we are showing this with the examples of Amira, of Marilep, of Esther, are leaders and agents of change, and we need equal representation and rights at the decision-making level in everyday life. Cooperation, as our panelist has also referred, is a key. So forging partnerships and bringing together diverse actors and around common goals such as gender equality and a healthy planet is a necessity, and we highly really appreciate. And let me use the opportunity to thank again the cooperation with the European Union in this regard. We need a very strong institutional and governance structures to support all these efforts. And as Amira was also referring to, access to finance is actually a problem, but it's also paramount to ensuring that women entrepreneurs can contribute to environmental action. And when we say access to finance, we also refer to access to new technologies and access to education, because I think this is really the key for women to be able to do their bit, to collaborate on all these efforts to a better planet and environmental health. And finally, ensuring that women and girls have skills in the fields where they are underrepresented is key, especially in STEM and environmental related sectors. All the efforts must go hand in hand with an effort to end discriminatory social norms and gender stereotypes that we all know. We have a long way to go on this, and we need men as allies for gender equality. So I think if we have any doubt that women can be agents of change, I mean, after listening to you three, it's been really, really very, very powerful, and we thank you all for your commitment, and to the audience for their attention. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.